autumn, I decided that I was going to bring back my palette of the week series because I had tons of palettes that I had been testing out and that I haven't really talked about. So I wanted to go ahead and do my first one on the Becca Ombre Rouge palette. I purchased this about maybe a month to 2 months ago now, and I have been loving it. And I've been wearing a ton of looks from this, well, pretty much the same sorts of looks from this, and people have been asking for tutorials on them. So I thought I would do 3 looks. The first one, well, it's not the first one. The one I have on today is actually the third look, and it's the more toned back sort of everyday look, where I use the 3 lighter shades. But to be honest with you, my favorite 2 shades in this palette are these 2 shades, just because they make the perfect balance between like a rich sort of purpley brown, like it's like a rosy brown, and then this shade right here, which gives, it's like a very warm brown. It just gives the most rustic sort of balance, I guess, between the shades. I have really no other way to describe it. So I did include with the looks, the very first look I did, I included, and I did all 5, and I did not use a paint pot, but I have been loving using cream shadows underneath of these as well, like I'll be showing you in the tutorials. But I'm going to go ahead, talk about the shades, and get into the swatches. I don't want to make this video too long since there are like 3 looks in there. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch these on the back of my hand. Okay, so I don't have a primer on the back of my hand, so they're not going to be as vibrant as maybe they would be if they were on top of a primer. But here are the eyeshadows. And I will say with these that if you took this shade out right here, they all kind of fall within like the same color family, just lightest to darkest. And then this right here kind of really ties the palette together. It warms up a look that maybe normally if people feel like they can't wear like purple or pink toned eyeshadows, it just really warms it up to where it makes it more wearable. I will say that when I put a brush into these, they do kick up a little bit of extra product. They're a little bit powdery, but when they go on, they're not chalky or anything like that. It's just very sort of pure sort of look. So they're not super, super intense eyeshadows that maybe you may get from Urban Decay, but they also don't have like any glittery fallout or anything like that, and these blend beautifully. So overall, I think this is definitely worth the money. This is something that actually made me want to check into the other Becca Ombre Nude palette, although that one leans more cool. I think if you were looking for something a little bit more warm or rosy, this is definitely it. It doesn't stay within the same color family as like the Ombre Nudes. This one kind of does have, like I mentioned, that warmer shade that kind of deviates and does make this more wearable and adds more variety for, you know, different kinds of looks. So I went through my eyeshadows looking for dupes of these just because, just in case you have them or whatever. I was actually only able to find one single eyeshadow that I owned that had a dupe within the palette. And I didn't really look for dupes of these because these aren't my favorite shades, but my 2 favorite shades, like I mentioned, are these 2, so I did try to find dupes for those. So this one right here is the one that has a single shade dupe, and it is the NYX eyeshadow in Dance the Tides. And so you can get these for around $5. They're very reasonably priced. So if the only shade that you were interested in this palette is like the warm brown, definitely check this out. I'll give a swatch next to the warm brown on my hand. And as you can see, they're very close. And then the only sort of dupe that I could find for the really deep sort of rosy brown shade, it's very hard for me to describe. It's like a deep plum brown. It's very beautiful. But anyway, the only thing that I could find that even resembled it was this, and this is a clearance palette, like a little quad, and it's their Splendors quad. I'm not sure if it's available anymore, but I bought this not this summer, but the one before. So this is a little over a year old and came from that collection. But as you can see, this shade right here is the closest thing to a dupe. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch it next to that one. And then there it is. Looking through everything, I wasn't really able to find anything other than those that were similar to those two shades in the palette. So I think that this is a very sort of unique palette. And I think it is worth the money. It's very great quality. I have been traveling with this and using it on its own without anything else. And it is a complete sort of palette as well. So if you're interested in the 3 looks, I'm going to go ahead and put those now. And if not, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey everyone, this is look number 1. And if you want to know what's on the rest of my face, I will try to remember to put it in the description box below. Okay, so in this one, I want to use every shade in this palette, since there is a small amount of shades, and not use anything else. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with applying the base, which is going to be this cream colored shade right here, just on a fluffy brush. Now going in, I'm actually going to take this pink shade right here and lay it into the crease as my transition using the same brush. Now going in with MAC 217, I'm going to go in with this shade right here, which is it's the center shade. I'm going in order from lightest to darkest. And I'm just going to place that down on the lid. Using the same shade that I just placed all over the lid, I'm going to go in with this smaller detail brush and run this under the bottom lash line. I'm going to skip the warm shade for now, and I'm going to go in with this shade and apply it kind of in the outer corner of the crease and just kind of start to blend in, but I don't want to go all the way in. I want it to be somewhat smoky, but I don't want to go too crazy. I'm going to go in with the brush that I used for the first 2 shades and just kind of blend that out a little bit. And then I'm going to take this brush, which is the Sigma E35, and I'm going to go into this very warm brown. It's like a warm light to medium brown shade. I'm just going to work that over the crease and just warm this look up. So if you can see the difference between my eyes, just this one is it's just warmed up the look, and I don't know. This almost looks like purple, and then this just kind of gives it more dimension and warms the look up quite a bit. And then once that's placed down, I'm going to go in with this brush again and just blend everything out. Okay, so that's it for the eyeshadow for today. Alright, so this is look number 2. I'm going to go ahead and get started, and anything that I've used on my face will be in the description box. Okay, so yesterday I did a look using just the palette alone. Today I'm going to use a paint pot under it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a brush to apply the paint pot with, and I'm using the paint pot in the shade Indianwood. But any sort of, I would say this is like a coppery sort of brown, like a bronzy brown shade. So I think any shade like that would work. This leans a little bit more warm. I'm going to go ahead and take this small, I think it's kind of like a liner brush, and I'm going to take this and run it under the lash line, still using the paint pot. Alright, so just taking kind of like a shader brush, a flat brush, I am going to go in with this shade right here. It's the deepest, and just put that in the outer area. I'm actually just going to go ahead and just bring it in. I decided I'm going to just have it all over the lid today. Once you have that on, you're just going to kind of want to blend it and make sure that you can't really notice where exactly you've put it down. Like there's no, I guess, sorts of marks just on the lid. The paint pot will kind of grab it a little bit more, and it is a little bit more difficult to kind of blend. So just kind of blend it out as best as you can. Taking this sort of fluffy brush, this is just a Sonia Kashuk. I'm going to go into the warm brown shade and work that into the crease. And then I'm just going to take my fingers and kind of help smudge that up. And then taking this pencil brush, I'm actually going to go into the deep shade in the palette again and just run it under the lash line. Okay, and that's it for eyeshadow. And you saw my completed look at the beginning, and I will see you tomorrow. Alright, so here is look number 3. Today I wanted to not use the 2 darker shades in the palette. I wanted to use the 3 lighter shades just to kind of show you what you could achieve with those. These 2 are my favorite, and I felt like the first 2 looks that I did were very heavy on that end. So I went ahead and I used the 3 lighter shades to achieve this look. So here it is. Alright, so my face is a blank canvas, and I'm going to go ahead and begin the final look. If you hear any sounds outside my window, it's because my neighbor's little girl is playing in the side yard. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and prime my eyes with Groundwork. This is like a light, I would say a light to medium brown. And although it's a cream finish, it seems to have a little bit of a, I don't want to say purple nuance, but it can lean a little bit, it's like a camel color that can lean a little bit cool. There's really no other way to describe it. And the more of it you put on, the more it leans cool. So it's actually a pretty neat product. But I'm just going to use my fingers today because I didn't wash my brush from yesterday. Now that I have that on, I'm actually going to go in with this sort of, I don't know, large shader brush into the lightest shade here. And I'm just going to kind of clean up the brow area and just kind of highlight up there. Now taking this Sonia Kashuk, I guess it's like a blending brush, I'm going to go in with this medium shade right here and work it into the crease. I'm going to go in with like a flat sort of shader brush and go into the second shade right here and just apply that on the lid over the paint pot. And closer, not on the outer area, but kind of closer to the tear duct, to the middle of the eye. Then taking a clean blender brush, I'm just going to go ahead and blend everything together. And with this detailer brush, I'm going to go into this center shade here and run it along the bottom lash line. And that is all for the eyeshadow portion. I'm going to go ahead and finish my makeup, and you will have already seen the completed look in the beginning. So I hope you enjoyed the 3 looks. I wanted to go ahead and make the announcement of what the next palette that I'm going to be doing is. And it's actually going to be 2 palettes, 2 separate videos, but I'm going to try to squeeze them into 1 week. And hopefully post them on the same day. And I have the L'Oreal La Palette Nudes. I thought I would go ahead and try to do drugstore next. So I'm going to be doing these next. So those will be the next ones. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. If there's anything that I can do to kind of make this video more informative, or if you have any questions, just go ahead and let me know below. Anyway, I will talk to you later. Bye!